The ordinary council meeting on the 24th of April 2025. Warren Council acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands within the Warren Shire and acknowledges the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who reside within the Shire. Mr. General Manager, have we had any apologies for today, please?
One apology from Councillor Wass.
Could I look for a mover? Councillor McCloskey, second to Councillor Kinsey for that. All those in favour? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you would have seen the minutes held of the council meeting on Thursday, the 27th. Firstly, can I get a mover and a seconder that we accept those? Councillor Certady, Councillor Kinsey, thank you very much. Business arising, remembering, guys, most of this will be still, is there anything jumping out at you that we won't be discussing today? Business out of those minutes? In that case, I'll put that we received the minutes as an accurate confirmation of the meeting on Thursday, the 22nd of March. All those in favour? Thank you. Disclosure of interest, Mr. General Manager, have we got any? Nil received. Moving quickly, there is no mayoral minute. And we'll move to item 7, which is our meeting reports for our committee meetings, which are our most important part of council business. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder, and the seconder to be at the meeting of the Roads Committee held on Tuesday, the 8th of April, please. Councillor Kinsey, Councillor Kelly. Thank you, Councillor Kinsey.
Well, not a lot really. It was just we did ascertain that we've done a fair bit on the Booker Road, was it?
Right.
Yeah, and we've got it to a point where it's usable, which is a damn good start. I think any questions need to be asked, please ask.
The activity in the road space, I'm sure all ratepayers and you councillors have been aware there's a fair bit of activity in the road space happening both in flood restorations, patching, heavy patching, and in our 2 major projects that are underway at the moment, that being Marthago Road and Corinda Road. Any questions? We're divisional manager. We're on schedule to finish all our flood on time.
Mr. Mayor, we are on schedule. As you know, we have an extension of time till June 2026, so that's enough time for us to finish the jobs.
There is some planning underway for 2 major causeways on the Corinda Road. Anecdotally, to me, from our ratepayers, is that everybody's reasonably pleased with the amount of activity in our road space. Councillor McCloskey.
Through the chair. Happening at a Dubbo yesterday down the Wombiana Road, I noticed there's a lot of plants standing idle there and nothing was happening. There wasn't a grader inside either, so have we stopped up there for some reason?
That's likely Crawlers Australia gear, so they're just waiting to pick them up.
Sorry?
You're waiting to pick them up.
Councillor McCloskey, the contractor that was involved in that down there is terminated or finished, and that's their own personal gear that they need to take somewhere else.
But here last week, Terence Hume was on a patch that I assume that they started and didn't finish for whatever reason. That's now sealed, but then there's another patch further down with a dingy gravel type thing on the bend before we get to the boundaries, unsealed and not.
Because it was moving. It was moving. And then this week was really only a 2-day week, so everyone took holidays.
that particular contract finished work about 3 weeks ago, Councillor McCoskey. Any other questions on the road space, guys? Nothing? Thank you, Councillor Kinsey. I'll put that, all that in favour. Thank you very much. On that same day was our plant committee meeting, looking for a mover and a seconder for the plant committee meeting. Councillor Kinsey again, Councillor Kelly, Councillor Kinsey.
Yeah, I suppose the one that's outstanding on that, Mr Mayor, is the fact that we're owed so much money and our budget for buying new gear is a bit stretched. Look forward to be able to sort that out because we're a bit hamstrung, really.
Yes, Councillor Kinsey, we took delivery of a shiny new grader a couple of days after that plant meeting. The plant replacement policy, to be honest to everyone, is under stress slightly, involving the monies that some Councillor Kinsey's right that we feel that are owing to us that haven't been paid. There is a certain amount of work to be done to get our 15-year plant replacement policy up to where we would like it, which could stretch future budgets of future councils or our council in future years. We probably, Mr. General Manager, you can probably $500,000 behind, in my estimation, to keep everything up to standard. That, in the big picture, possibly needs to be addressed so that our efficiencies of our gear is, in layman's terms, our R&M. We can't afford for our gear not to be standard, up to standard because of efficiencies. It's not just the R&M on the gear, it's the inefficiency of the guys that are supposed to be running it. So it is something that staff and us will have to address in the future. In big picture terms, our small plant is pretty adequate, up to standard. Some of our major large items need addressing. And the first one comes to my mind is our tar patching truck, and the second one is the street sweeper. Unfortunately, these two items cost a lot of money. You have any comments?
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I think you've covered it all, but just for your information, we need approximately 1.5 million per year for plant replacement. Currently, we are working with around about 850,000 per year. So you can see it's like a half of what's it.
To get our operation as efficient as we can, we especially with that big. In an ideal world, we could probably handle two tar patching trucks. Less people, more efficiency, but in the real world, we've got to fund that some ways. Well, the plant committee needs to do some hard thinking about, and staff need to do some hard thinking about that in the future. So, any other comments? Nothing? I'll put that all in favour. Thank you. The next report is the meeting of Mannix on Monday the 14th. Could I mover and a second for that? For the general manager to comment on that, please?
Councillor Derrick.
Councillor Derrick, Councillor McKay, Councillor Derrick.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Happy to move.
Just, Mr. General Manager, you got any comments on this?
Real quickly, Mr Mayor, we've got a new consultant now who's looking after our marketing communication.
Yeah.
We're starting to develop a really good relationship with the lady who heads Muse State. The acting general manager actually knew her from Gosford when she worked for Gosford City Council. I believe you're developing a good relationship with her, getting to know your thoughts. You'll start seeing very soon a lot social media posts that are bang out, which, for example, practicing on Anzac Day. We'll get back to probably a good standard very soon, I believe.
I can just comment on that. I've had a number of reasonably lengthy Teams conversations with the lady Megan. She, in my opinion, very switched on, and I welcome her on board, and she'll help me no end on our public face.
Just a couple of items, as you'll see on page 11, some work health and safety and risk matters. A couple of risk plans that were been on the books for about four and a half years now, have been done and dusted. Eric will be very pleased about that. Everything else is just normal. We had a work health and safety committee that recommended to Mannix for a number of recommendations, typical and normal, which is on page 12. We're starting the ball rolling with a couple of newly vacant positions in the administration area, and we're still open for trying to find as many people in our outdoor staff that are vacant at the moment. Tweeted.
Comments, guys? So I'll put that all in favour, please. Thank you. The next one is the meeting of Western Alliance Councils held in Dubbo on Friday, the March 7th. I would look for a mover and a seconder that can I can comment because I was at that meeting. Councillor Derrick, Councillor Houston, Councillor Derrick.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Over to you.
The Alliance meeting was very well attended by all of our council about us, which for those who are not aware, stretched from Mudgee all the way to Walgett, Burke and Wilcannia. Everybody was representative and got to know each other at an evening dinner beforehand. The discussions revolved around obviously Telstra. In your business paper, you'll see a spiel from Telstra. I can tell you the general manager at Telstra, Northern New South Wales and Queensland, walked into a firestorm. Everybody attacked him. Telstra's in the position that they can't service the area, and they're also a commercial thing, but they're putting their hat on low orbit satellites. instead of spending millions on towers, they're putting their hat on that within 12 to 18 months, you'll be able to access a low orbiting satellite from your handset, which will basically be a bit like a sat phone from a normal handset. But meanwhile, they're taking a fair bit of heat. Our community, with the exception of Nevertire, is not too badly off. Gilgandra can't even access a tap machine in their main street. Meanwhile, we presented to them the results of our survey that we professionally got done. As per normal, we haven't had a response from that yet. The results of this, like, we've been building our head up against a brick wall against communications and conductivity for quite some time. And I think we'll keep having to build our head up against brick wall. Councillor Kinsey?
With the so-called sat phone, does that mean we've got to buy a new handpiece or a new phone? No, fair enough.
But obviously the statements that they made saying that when 3G left that nothing would change, obviously it's taken. Nothing, any other comments? I haven't got too many more from that meeting, so I'll put that. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 2, public libraries, Central West Zone, held on Friday the 21st of March. Looking for a mover and a second of that. Councillor Surdity, Councillor Houston, thank you. Councillor Surdity.
Pretty much all in what I've said in that report, unless anybody's got any query, I don't think there's really anything much else I can add to for you.
Any other comments from anyone?
I've got a question, please, Mr. Mayor. In there, there was a motion, if I'm at the right spot in the paper, item 2, there was a motion about the association should address the issue of federal and state governments increasingly reliant on public libraries for e-government services. Does that mean Centrelink type of transactions?
It's very confidential and it really shouldn't be something that should be on.
Because there's a lot of face-to-face sort of Zoom type of meetings, isn't there, in that space? So do we have to look at, I mean, where's it all going? Do we have to look at some sort of confidential arrangement at our library now and make even further changes to that?
We don't get paid. The library system doesn't get paid to run those services to assist those government agencies. They have their own funding, but it doesn't filter through to us. So it's expected that our staff who haven't got any training under those particular areas are expected to be able to assist the various public. And as you can imagine, particularly like Centrelink, it can become quite emotive. There's issues that the person passing the information is having with Centrelink. A case in point was there was not sure which library it was, but I don't think it was within our region. There was a library assistant that was supposedly going to be sued by a member who had put the information in for her, saying that she had pinched all the money and put it into her own bank account.
Right. But Mr. Mayor, do we see this as an opportunity rather than an encumbrance that we might have Centrelink type of capabilities in town now, rather than having to go all the way to Dubbo to address some of those types of things. So I'm happy to leave it there. It's more a comment than anything, but it might not all be bad. I understand that it's tough.
At the moment, there's no funding, as I understand it. If that could be a possibility, there is some facilities for some of that post office, I understand, but the post office is obviously it's funded for that. We don't get funded, but it's something that. Thank you, Councillor Brewer. Any other comments? I'll put that all in favour. Thank you. Item 3, the meeting of the Associated Mine and Energy Councils in Sydney on 27th of March. Looking for a mover and a seconder of that, please. Councillor Mackay, Councillor Jackson, Councillor Mackay.
I'll move to what be read.
Yeah, I attended that as not as a delegate, just as a comment. The councils that were recipients of the Resources to Regions Fund are still upset that the trust fund that's replaced that hasn't acted again, but really not a lot of relevance, to our council. Any other comments? I'll put that all in favour that we receive that report. Thank you. Item 4, annual general meeting of the Outback Arts Incorporated held on the 31st of March. Councillor Jackson, Councillor Mackay. Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor Whiteley. The minutes are there for anyone who is interested to read, but just a key point I wanted to bring out was Waste to Art. We haven't had that in this shire for some time. The arrangements with NetWaste are now that the Outback Arts can accept entries from our shire. So that means if we don't have Waste to Art again, there are people within our shire who are interested. They can still enter that competition through Outback Arts. So I think that's good for our recycling artists. And you may have noted there is an advisory council meeting for RADA that I'm going to be attending on behalf of Outback Arts, but it's not funded by our council. It's funded through Outback Arts. So just so nobody thinks this council has to pay for me to attend. I just wanted to highlight that as well.
Thank you, Councillor. Comments, questions? Thank you, Councillor. I'll put that motion. All those in favour. Thank you. Item 9. Those where 5. Sorry. Councillor Derrick. The meeting of the Interagency Support Service. I apologise. I jumped on Councillor Derrick. Moved. Seconder. Councillor McCloskey. Councillor Derrick.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we had a few technical glitches to begin with, being that we couldn't use the screen in this room for our life-size meeting, but we were able to connect via a laptop, and luckily there's only 3 of us in the room, so we were able to proceed with the meeting, which is always quite productive. I guess the main things, in addition to what's in the minutes, is that we are trialling a move to Monday meetings instead of Thursdays. Hope that might suit more people. So some feedback from participants has been that a Monday would be better. We're also going to be arranging a guest speaker, hopefully for each meeting, which again is something that was suggested by some of the participants, something that's been done in other interagency groups, for example, Ningen. So that's something that, will be good to have. So that would be in addition to the regular updates that each participant has the opportunity to give at those meetings. So that's the regular update to and just a bit of an update on programs or activities. So the guest speaker would be speaking on more focused particular topics. So and be given a little bit longer to that presentation. So that's really good. Don't have anything further to add, but if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to assist.
Through the chair, Sarah, what's the TARP grant?
That is transport related. I can't recall what that actually stands for, but there is some funding available, and that's the funding through you, Mr. Mayor. There is some funding that hopefully the Warren Youth Foundation might be able to, also in the process of applying for, to look at putting in some transport between Warren and Riverside. So that's been an ongoing issue, and we're sort of stage, but there is some funding, and hopefully something might be able to happen with that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor, on the Roads New South Wales Integrated Transport Plan, that's involved in that. The Integrated Transport Plan is under construction, and that includes, access to the rail bus. And, there was an officer attached to that Department of Roads from New South Wales in the Shire about 3 or 4 months ago, looking at those sort of things. Councillor.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. So it's Transport Access Regional Partnerships Grant Program. So I apologise for not expanding that out in the minutes. Thank you.
The councillor acronyms can get a little bit difficult.
Indeed.
Councillor Sturdy.
One addition to that, when we had the streams, when we had the IP meeting back about maybe a month back, I suppose now.
Yes.
And we were discussing how we could expand on the information that comes into the interagency from the various agencies that provide services to us. So after the meeting, I spoke with Marianne and volunteered that I was happy to help with that program because I had used to do it when I was on council prior. So we're in the process of working out that. We're just putting a rough survey form together to make sure that we're pulling in every bit of information that we wanted to go into that master database. And once that's done, then we're actually in the process of putting the Clean Air system because a lot of it bounces back. The problem that you have is when projects run out, usually they're only about maybe a 2-year term. They don't tell you. So on that survey sheet, they're going to ask them to provide the start and end dates, where they are, who they are. There's a whole pile of information on it, and it's just a 1-page document. So hopefully we'll be able to give it a good streamline, and then you'll have a better idea of who's doing what, where, when.
Thank you, councillor Sturdy.
What happens? Thank you.
So I'm going to put that report. All those in favour? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now we can go on to channel reports to the council policy. This is for those that are aware and the public knowledge. It is a requirement from local government New South Wales that we revisit our policies in the first 12 months of a new council. And I congratulate councillors for wading through all these that have done. There is not serious, without language changes and some legislative changes, the tones of our policies 1 through to 15 have not legitimately changed in any major sense. There's been some language changes. There's been some updating of.
Just remember, item 10 and item 13 are the ones that are going to be, our recommendation are going to be advertised in a full way, 28 days, and public they're the only two out of 31. Because once the fees, once the facilities and expenses of councillors that gets changed every 12 months, and it should be advertised for everyone to comment on. And the other one is the protected public interest disclosure policy that has been completely renewed, that needs to go out to public exhibition in the same way. But all the other ones, as you say, Mr. Mayor, are minor tweaks, no change in intent.
Slight change of, so councillor Sturdy.
You're moving them all.
For you, Mr. Mayor, item 7, did you look at the list of authorised staff members?
Fix that up
We fixed
So
that.
it's already fixed,
Yep.
the two places.
in the important document here. Yes,
Excellent, lovely, that's all.
because he doesn't like being an engineer.
Don't blame.
I don't know how that happened.
At least the proofs I read the policy.
But I'm pretty pleased about it.
Right, you two. We'll continue on with this. So what I'm trying to get someone competently to move that we receive those reports 1 through to 15. Thank you, councillor Brewer. Seconded, councillor Surdity. It's compliments to councillor Surdity for actually picking up fine stuff. Deputy Mayor Derrett also picked up finer stuff. Congratulations for that. So we've got to keep our staff on their feet.
Mr. Mayor,
Just the general manager.
said there was a prize for that.
Yeah, no, right. We got any, taking the levity out of it, this is reasonably serious, but we're not changing our policies in any major regard, with the exception of what the 2 that we need to advertise, which is, reasonably important. We all know how well councillors, we're all getting paid. Graft and corruption can't happen, and I thank you for your time and patience waiting through those. So if there's no comments from the floor, I'm going to put, sorry, Mr.
So only, Mr. Mayor, to reiterate that item 10 and 13 will go to a public consultation.
As per the recommendation, yes, councillor. Any other comments? All happy? I'll move that the recommendation as per on the for items 1 through to 15, with the recommendation of item 10 and 13 noted. All those in favour? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That made life for me a lot easier to do. Right, we now we're going to outstanding reports check
16 to 25.
I was doing the whole lot.
Councillors, sorry, that was 1 to 31.
1 to 31. I apologise.
Councillor Brewer, you have.
Yes, thank you. That'll be wonderful. Thank you. Up to including horses.
Apologise for that. That was my mistake. But is everybody clear?
Yep.
Thank you, General Manager, for calling me over the top.
I didn't. Just let Mr. Mayor, just let Jody
Yeah, that's fine.
adjust everything. And councillors, while she's doing that, probably about another 60 to go. Split them up a little bit more. We've got to about the October meeting. I don't really want to use the October meeting. But two major ones that may have to wait to September and October are the Code of Conduct the code of meeting practice to see what comes out of the Minister for Local Government and the Office of Local Government's office to see what changes there's going to be. They're definitely a wait and see to see what's going to change. Hopefully, for example, the roads, a lot of the roads ones were looked at and advice obtained at the roads committee meeting. I think you're probably going to put 3 or 4 to next council meeting. There's one more road one that will probably go to the roads committee to look at after the Division of Managed Engineering Services. It's had a go at getting it to near perfect for you guys to provide further advice, which was road access, maybe. That may go to the July meeting, may go to say August, just to make sure to take into account if there's too many changes. But there's still anywhere between 50 and 60 to go.
Any comments? We just work our way through it, guys. We only got to do it once in 4 years. And it is important that we've got our policy for our staff to act on right. Other person. Good. Right, moving on to reports from the General Manager. Item 1, outstanding reports checklist. I'm looking for a mover and a second of that, and then I'll ask the General Manager to go through that. Councillor Sturdy, Councillor Cleesby. Thank you. Mr. General Manager, you want to duck through that?
Real quickly, you'll see, so just removing that the action's been taken on that black spot program submitted by that consulting firm. It's still, I'm actually surprised that the whole thing hasn't been slowed down by election convention, which I probably think it has been. I think they're probably going to wait. No decision was out of the Commonwealth Government on that one.
With respect, I can just jump in there. The Senate committee met the day before the election was announced, and Never Tire was mentioned. But that was the end of the process.
Page 2 is just starting to tidy up things that have happened in relation to the Macquarie Marshes task force, same as the top of page 3. Matters in relation to contract management are happening at Manning's level. Bottom of page 3, top of page 4. Just tidying up what's happening. Victoria Park female friendly Manning's block, wall framing, roof framing complete. Hopefully in the first week, second week of May. That building should be, you will notice 3 out of the, is it 6 doors, 4 doors there, or 6 or 3?
Councillors, if you look to your left behind you, are the
3.
the artwork for the doors ready to be attached to the building.
Mr. Mayor, in the middle of page 5 is the finishing off of the EV station report, which you all now got an email, probably in a hard copy this morning. The bottom of page 5 is the action on the drought resilience project, and now starting to be seriously in progress for the I'll call it the Country Heartline project. It's just for a name, and very soon the project steering committee will be organised. The total budget, I think, is about $290,000. About 46,000 of it will be spent this year, and the rest next year, by end of November. Page 7 is the action on some promoting best practice, and also that the disclosures policy has been undertaken, same with the communications technology and plan policy and the contract register. On to page 8, is the actions to get to our operational plan and estimates that is now complete. The Country ARIC conference on page 9, action taken. We're just about to consider the major levy tender at this council meeting on page 10. That's why most of that's gone. To page 13, actions taken on the CASA manual, which is we've got a little bit more complication now due to some further advice that we've received that Airport Committee have been advised by in writing, but we're still working on that. Page 14 is engagement of our contractor who's almost finished out at the sewage treatment works. Page 15 is action taken in relation to the road land tenure and the costs of fencing, where we have stock come onto our road reserve that was provided to the Roads Committee. Bottom of page 17 is those 6 items were considered during the estimates and at our workshop. Not all of them got into the budget. Page 19, just removing Victoria Open Oxley Park. Plan of management's been complete some time ago, but we're still working on the other plans of management for Crown Lands. Page 21 is local approvals policies done and dusted. It's complete, renewed. Noted on the sporting facilities matter. Cemeteries policy has been done and dusted as well. And bottom of page 22, that's noted.
Guys, there's a fair bit through that. Some have been discussed previously. Some of it will be discussed later this meeting. Is any birds on the saddle anyway? Take that as no. So I'll as report to the general manager. Outstanding checklist. Be accepted. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 2 is the committee delegates meetings. I'm looking for a mover and a second to get that underway. Councillor McCloskey, Councillor Houston, the reports to those councillors have been put to you. The meetings were held. Is there any questions or comments from anyone? We should be standing up. It's not my day. Councillors, thank you. In recognition of Warren being a healthy town and keeping awareness of a healthy lifestyle, council will be standing up while dealing with item 2 of the general manager's report. And obviously I called for those mover and seconders, and we've got them. Thanks, Jody. Is there any comments? Comments on that, ladies and gentlemen? Considering our ex-mayor just ran a marathon in Paris, I think for us to stand for 3 minutes is. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Imagine he stands for that. then. Wonder how he got tangled up with them.
Item 3, works progress reports and infrastructure projects. Just looking for a mover and seconder, please, of that report. Councillor Kelly, Councillor Jackson, thank you. Councillor Kelly.
That the information we received and noted
Is
quite straightforward.
General Manager, do you want to go through that? We've all read it. We're all happy with that, are we? Councillor Mackay?
Just a question to the GM. Can you just give us a quick description of where the work's going to be happening? I know there's a number of different sites where the rocks go to, sorry, this is for the Warren Levy Rehabilitation Program.
Understand? So the main project is a very similar project what happened in 1998. Lions Park, remember Lions Park with the pinning down at the bottom and then the concrete walls and the rock work? That's exactly going to happen for the next 163 metres or so. From there onwards, past the health centre down there, police station and the courthouse, and right past, just past Lawson's.
Yeah.
Is it Hale Street or Lawson?
Hale Street.
Hale Street. Hale.
The street just in the bottom end.
Yeah.
To the Hale Street, Lawson Street, walk around corner.
And then 8 locations, and you describe a good amount of them, of where a fair amount of rock gets put into the river. About at least half of that's stockpiled.
Yeah.
Is it marked anywhere on our? Not really.
Not real.
Not on that one.
But all the, Councillor Mackay, all the landowners adjacent to that have been contacted. They've been contacted by us as well as our environmental officer that was appointed to do the scoping of that. They all should be aware. It will be, we can't bring that much rock in through the town without causing some sort of stir, but it's got to happen. And the tenders in more detail will be discussed later on in this meeting after we go. We accept a tender and then bring that back to the council.
And Mr. Mayor, what's funny is that $7.1 million, which about 5.1 million of it is that part of the project. The rest is the floodgates, the flood pumps, setting everything up. That is more than what the levy cost 96, 2001. How things and I can assure you that it was the drawdown of that 2018 330,000 megalitres of water that was put to the markets that did it. State water and the environmental water holder were the reasons why we had block failure in a number of locations.
Yeah.
And Mr. Mayor, that's the reason why they listened to us in September to December 2022 of slowly letting out water in the dam and slowly dropping it. So there wasn't block failure from Wellington past Warren. That still would have been some, but compared to what could have happened, and meaning the drawdown was less that during the floods because it was quite realised that everyone was losing their land because of the block failures caused by slumping down of a drawdown.
Yeah.
That block failures, what do you, the piers that have been put in?
Yeah, and just the natural to the bank. To bring back to even along the creek, in a personal scenario, since 1990, I've lost 4.5 metres of bank. You know, so, at my residence. The same thing's happening here, and what, Gary's alluding to is the, managing the flow rate out of Barrendong Dam to not, cost the environment or our danger to our levee. Like I said, we'll talk more about the cost of this. It's two parts. Main part there, the rock part. The third part is all our gates and pumps have been upgraded under the same money. It was interesting to talk to ministers in Sydney at Parliament House a fortnight ago to actually explain that our risk is from rainfall in a flood event as much as the flood event. It takes some explaining to realise that, you know, that some people don't realise you get flooded from a river. That's fine, but to be flooded from 100 mil rain event, and why we need the pumps and the gates and everything else is, with the conversation kept going through that because we are still owed not quite $750,000 for looking after the levee last time, which it's a certain amount of buck passing between, should be recompensed for that. Hopefully, in the state government budget, we'll see a check for 570 something thousand, 695,000. At this stage, we are owed that money from we think the state government. Any other questions on that? Infrastructure. The progression of our ladies' change rooms at the Oval is slightly behind because of some, they found something under that we're a month behind than where we should have been, but our contractor is on, has a proven track record, and this will be his third major project, and I think everything's going pretty sweet. Other questions, comments? Well, all for, is everybody happy with that? All in favour? Thank you. Looking for a mover and a seconder for the 235 local vote, votes Congress IPWA, which our general manager attended. Looking for a mover and second of that. Thank you, Councillor Surdy, Councillor Brewer, general manager.
Are there two interested councillors? Are there two interested councillors? Anybody? No, no one else?
Looks like they volunteered. They just had to check that Councillor McCloskey was allowed to go over the levy.
I didn't say it.
Our response is no response.
No, you're checking your diary.
All those in favour? Thank you. Righto, guys. Some of you were at our workshop with the draft operational plan, delivery program plan the other day. Some unfortunately couldn't make it. We went through that in detail. This will, is a recommendation, will now go on, public display for 2 months. Yeah,
End of May.
end of May for the June meeting. Obviously, it is a major document that we still can comment on, but still, I would look for a mover and a seconder that we continue on with that process. Please add the recommendation of the Councillor Surdity, Councillor Kinsey. Councillor Surdity, have you got any comment? Moving the recommendation, which is the draft operational plan. And comments, questions. It's still a live document. We can still work on it, but we are budgeting conservatively on both sides, positive and negative. I mean, in and out. It is reasonably balanced documents. There has been some things that have missed out and some things that are on there. It is something that's a normal process. No questions, so we'll continue that process to put it in public as per the recommendation. All those in favour? Thank you. This one, item 6, is the windows on the wetland project, or the EV charge in Australia. And I personally and staff apologise that this came on late. This only came last night, and I've got to admit that personally I'm not on top of it 100%. So we might just get the general manager to go through that and the repercussions and what might be forward to that, please.
And there's a $75,000 budget made up of local roads and community infrastructure and our some infrastructure money, infrastructure reserve money. What that was really supposed to be directed towards was an EV charging station at our visitor information centre at Windows on the Wetlands. What's discovered, and it all comes from recommendations of the report by ChargeWorks that you've all been given a copy of. The three locations of priority were the VIC, Kanga Oval, and the third one is out the front. Even the VIC with the redundant power system at the pump station needs between $150,000 and $200,000 more to bring it up to an appropriate level for a over 60 kV power system. But we can afford within the 75,000 to do 3 locations if they're 22 kilowatt. We believe 22 kilowatt should be sufficient out front. Power's all good here. The power's right at the VIC, and everything is set for Carter Oval because the conduit system is all set up, and the power system is all there to be able to do a 22 kVA. About 50% to 75% of the systems are all around us are 22 kVA. Some are 50. And what it really means is that it probably take one car at least an hour to charge at 22 to get to that kit going, not to about 80%. But we believe that those, I think it's fortuitous that we can actually have a go and we can be a bit of an EV town for 75,000 having 3 locations, the 3 locations, one attracting everyone to be able to go to things in the main street, one to go to the VIC where they can do the same thing and learn about Warren Shire and hopefully stay a couple of days. And then anyone who comes to the sporting facilities and the swimming pool at the Carter Oval Youth Sports Precinct can also charge their card. It's set up, working on that it's free for a while until we start getting a fair amount of use, and then we click in to actually start charging people eventually. But really, it's a bit of an attractor. Hopefully, then people will come to Warren to charge up and spend some money in any of the 3 locations. I'm actually very pleased that we're able to actually have a go at doing 3 locations. We just have to accept that they're 22 kilowatt instead of 50 kilowatt. And it means that it takes a little bit longer to get to 80% charge than a 50 kilowatt.
Councillor Sir.
Just if I can, just a quick query. The one that's going to be hopefully at the well centre, it's going to be at the back where the caravan for the moment.
Yes, most probably. I'm not 100% certain, but I think, yeah.
Somewhere else really.
That's probably me.
So with relation to the wattage, what would it cost to have one of the big ones in the main street? Have we got the capital to run a big one?
No, it's $150,000 to $200,000 on top of the 55 to 75,000.
The discussion all the way through, and that's why it's taken so long, is that the 75,000 pays for the infrastructure to put them there, but there is nowhere in town that you can put a 50 without spending a lot of money.
We were hoping with the power that went to the pump station there that wasn't, but it's turned out to be not.
So what, we had 2 22s in the main street instead of just one?
Oh,
Don't know.
I'm just looking at the costing and whatnot, and we're spreading assets out. We could concentrate them here they'd be under surveillance and quite safe for people late at night, so forth.
The
That's just from my.
Councillor, I thought of this as well, and then the main street, but the ones in Dubbo are up at the Heritage Centre. Have the 3 of them in the main street and restrict our normal parking or having people not park there. I think that's, I appreciate getting them into the main street. The management of even one here in front of the council chambers, if we took away, if we sat it in front of ex-councillor Taylor's shop up there and took up 3 car parks, I think that'd take some management. All the ones that I've seen and I've purposely gone looking for them, not because I have an electric car, but all the ones that I've seen are, and the one in Dubbo is close to a coffee shop. That's about the only thing it's close to. There is 3 there in one place, but they're only 22s.
it's going to be for 2 cars.
Point taken. I know, yeah, just a question.
Councillor McKay.
So does the charges have to be located at council premises? Is that part of the grant?
Other organisations would need to pay for it themselves. For example, 2 years ago, there was a request by Macquarie Toyota, and they had the same trouble. The electricity outside their place well and truly needed to be upgraded.
So I suppose my question is, does the power have to come from council switchboard? Or, for instance, we talked about out here, could it be the next street, could it be in the car park of the medical centre, for example? Is that,
That's correct. I want it from a council facility because no one else is going to pay for it except us. We're the community.
Yeah.
But, the charge works felt that there, and there were the three best locations with this equal number two and number one, because it's the VIC types where they've been prioritising as being as the best location because of travellers. And then the VIC people can direct those same people into all our businesses. But the mere fact that out front here directs everyone to the 3 or 4 main businesses that could be very valuable for it, you know, whether it's the news agency, hotel, coffee shop. I'm just so pleased that we can actually afford to put 3, because everyone will be coming eventually to our sporting facilities, and they'll be coming from wanting to charge their car. But I mean, that the Lawson Street hasn't been thought because it's only the medical centre.
that's fine. It's just at the previous meeting, I think we discussed that there was probably only an option for one location. So with the $75,000 budget, even sort of going through the footpath here, it all comes under.
Within the budget.
Comes within the budget
Yes,
to have.
yes,
And a 22 kilowatt charging station means there's 2 cables.
yes.
So it's not
2
2
cars,
cars.
it'd be 2 car parking spots with that in the middle.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's a really good outcome, I would have thought, to be able to get all 3 of them.
So we can charge 6, in the village, we can charge 6 cars.
Yeah, that's
Better take it out. Sorry, councillor Brewer.
When we do start to charge for this, and let's hope that's relatively soon, what sort of revenues are we expecting from it? I mean, we have to pay for the power. Is there much in it? What's it cost to charge a car?
I've heard something like $5 to $7. And you do, and you most, I've heard that type of dollars, $5 to $7 to charge a car.
Huh.
And
It's in the report from China or something. I think what it costs, but I think that what they're recommending is that it's supposed to be it's free of them to charge us from there, which I think is important, because otherwise you have a car sitting out here for 8 hours. Just taking up the charging. Whereas if you give them an hour free to be able to top up and go on their way versus, and then if they go there for 6 hours, we charge for it.
Yeah. The one here, in my opinion, the one here will take a bit of managing.
Yeah.
I can think of half a dozen scenarios with different people around town that, anyhow, that, at least it's here and our offices are here and we can manage that. The other ones I think will be appropriate, not that I've got that much into it, but as far as the charging is concerned, I pulled up at one at the back of a shopping centre in Lismore the other day, and I walked over and asked the guy. Yeah, that was $6. But he just sat there reading the paper for 25 minutes. I'm not quite sure how much power he put into it.
Yeah, so 22 kilowatt costs $3, $1.50 to $3 an hour. So
Yeah.
There you go.
figures I've heard is you probably find is you do about $2,000 worth of power a year and you get about $2,000 worth of income.
Power side of things, it's relevant, and you've probably noticed in your own bills that bills are going up. That's fine. The access charge and everything going up more than the bills are going, like your network charge.
Just remember, electricity is about 1/4 of your electricity bill.
Right, let's go. Bob, councillor.
to Gary, so, but this needs to be the work completed by July.
Yes, by 30th of June.
And
Today's the magical day.
That's the reason of the haste, I suppose.
yes,
Okay.
and the tender documents here, the tender information here. It's found a little bit hard to read. The summary is that there is, you've got quotes for installing 3 charging stations at 3 locations identified, and it all comes in under the $75,000.
With a reasonable contingency and the contractor that we're going to negotiate with can do it by the 30th of June. Question I asked too.
The other questions, guys? And obviously, we talk about the tender manager. I thought we did with Councillor McCoskey, Councillor Surtees. You happy to move that, Councillor McCoskey? Hand up, yes.
Thank you.
Last chance, no questions. And again, I apologise for the haste of this, but it had to be done today. So motion all for against congratulations. Righto, we're moving on to reports of Divisional Manager of Finance. How's it? Good. 157, not quite. I'm just checking up. The previous council meeting was finished when, councillor? Derek?
18 minutes, I think, Mr. Mayor. Maybe 20.
Reports for the Divisional Manager Finance Administration. First is the reconciliation certificate. Sorry about the pronunciation. Looking for a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Derek. Councillor King, he just put his hand up. I saw a finger move. Divisional Manager, you got any comments?
No, thank you. Chair, unless there's questions.
Questions? Questions?
Yeah, sadly, those terms and rates have got 4s in front of them.
Yep.
And 5s.
Well, I think the pundits are saying we're on a downhill cycle on the interest rates, but I don't think the RBA chief will let it go as quick as some people think it would. Any questions? Comments? Last chance, I'll put that. All those in favour? Aye. Thank you very much. Item 2, statement of rates and charges. Looking for a mover and seconder. Councillor Surtees, Councillor Cleesby. Thank you, Councillor Surtees.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see that the rate percentage is still staying pretty much like it was for the last many years. So it's good. People aren't obviously too unhappy.
Thank you, Councillor Surtees. Any other comments? Sorry, Councillor McKay.
In terms of the statement rates and the charges and the percentage of arrears and things that are there, is there a figure there that says what we are in arrears for rates that are due or overdue?
So it does have the arrears amount listed. So at any given point in time, that amount will be, so there's 4 quarters for the financial year. So if that goes past the due date, it then forms part of that arrears balance automatically. So there's the arrears brought forward from the prior year and then the arrears in the current year.
So if I was sort of through there, so if I looked at I'm looking at item where it says general fund rates and across to the right, it says arrears as a percentage of age of total receivables. So that 24.8 number there, does that number mean
or so even the net arrears at first of July, does that mean that we have that we have overdue rates of about 268,520?
So it's basically reflecting your collection.
The complicating factor, councillor, is that the instalment process is in there.
Yeah, understand that. I sort of get that. So the collection figure down the bottom, it takes into account the installments, I'm assuming. But I suppose I'm just looking for a number that says of what's due, what's overdue. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So try and explain it further. I can send you the actual working document, if you like, that will show how the figures are derived. But essentially, as I was saying before, that arrears amount that's indicated includes the arrears from the 1st of July, so the prior year figure, and whatever's owed at a current point in time. So as of the date of this report being done, any instalments in the current year that were unpaid and past due, obviously, form part of that arrears balance.
Okay, so that 268,000 is really money that should have been paid that hasn't been paid yet.
From the prior financial year, yes.
First at 1 July. So today, where's the number as of today? As of when this report was generated.
Yep, so the arrears amount would be that 1.4 mil.
But of the 268,000, do you think 50% of it's been paid?
So that I can't answer without going and doing
Working documents.
like a aging of the receivables at a point in time.
Yeah. Okay.
Say what's 0 to 30, so on and so forth.
Any guess? No guess?
I wouldn't be prepared to have a guess. No, sorry, but
Okay. So
The rollover, Councillor Mackay, don't quote me to the figure at 30th of June last year was 90, percentage-wise 94, 96.
within the system, what occurs as well, councillor, is that if somebody comes, if they owe money from the previous financial year, it's the most aged component of the debt. They walk in and, you know, they owed $500, they pay $1,000. It pays the arrears off first. So essentially, by this stage in the year, unless there's a large value owing more than a year or more in there, that'll pretty well be up to date for the larger share of them, if that makes sense. So it takes the oldest debt out of the equation first in the system. So at the end of the year, say, when we arrive at that $268,000 figure, that's probably going to be amounting to a lot of long-term debtors, estates, and other various things. Not so much, you know, ratepayers that are just behind by a small amount, units and that sort of thing in there. Yeah.
Councillor, there is a figure of long-term over 5 years amount that's been owing to us for unpaid rates. There will be a report to council in the next 2 months or so about where we think we should go to that. After it's been owing for 5 years, we have processes that we can possibly take. There is a number of parcels of land inside the levy and rural that have hit that criteria. And I brought the general manager's notice that we will do a report to that in the next coming months. So, any other questions? Comments? All good. I'll put that one all in favour. Thank you. very much. Three more. Item 3, Works Progress Reports, Finance and Administration. Mover and seconder, please. Thanks, councillor Jackson. Thanks, councillor Houston. Councillor Jackson,
Let's move that the information we received and noted.
any questions, comments? Divisional Manager, you got any comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just on this one, the larger share of the expenditure will be regarding the electronic document management system, a record system coming online. We have had delays there due to needing a static IP address, which has now been gained. And as of yesterday, we just had the upgrade to council's internet installed fully. So it's not active as yet, I don't believe, but the dedicated fibre link physically is here and ready to go. So they were two items that this project was pending. So from here onwards, once they activate that internet updates and whatnot for us, we'll start to see what's in that project, which is your info.
Comments? Questions? With that, all in favour? Thank you. Item 5, sorry. Item 4, sorry. Report, Divisional Manager, Finance Administration, draft estimates. Basically, these are the increases in charges that are in front of you there. Mover and seconder to get discussion underway. Councillor Surdity, Councillor Cleesby, Councillor Surdity. These are all on page 7 of that. We got any questions, comments? Basically, we're looking at that 5% figure for most. Councillor Mackay.
Sorry, Matt. Gary, when we had the workshop on this, in terms of the rubbish, you mentioned there's a levy for non-residential, also for rural, to use the tip. Can you just explain that again?
So this year, it commenced this year of $10 per assessment, which collects about $8,000 to help pay for where it's delivered to our people, come and deliver their rubbish from the rural area to the garbage depot.
So people like me who've been delivering there for last year, I've been doing it for free, have I?
No, you paid last council.
Last time, okay.
The discussion last council, the previous council was that when this was brought up, it's immaterial in big picture terms. It's not, but better than charging at the gate, because we end up with the garbage tip extending from your boundary through to my boundary, if you know what I mean. But
Mr. Mayor, it's $11 now.
Yeah.
We're going to get you. And those big ratepayers are going to be in trouble. They need to organise their assessments together.
this philosophy of needs to be thought out in the long term. The budget for the facility and the committee needs to think a bit about where we go with this, because obviously we either go the charge through the gate thing, which creates social problems everywhere around town, or we attract the funds elsewhere.
I've got feelings on the matter, but, you know, we need to think about that and the committee needs to think about that in the long term. The management of the facility does cost money. We're driven by legislative stuff. We're driven on by the EPA. We've obviously got to have someone, by law, we've got to have someone there. It does cost money. Equity charging all the fees and charges we do need to be equitable across the community. You know, it's why we sit around here, guys. So any other comments on this particular one?
Just to drill down a fraction more. So at the moment, for the waste depot at the moment, there's if you're living in town, there's a $369 charge to get your rubbish picked up. I'm assuming it's spoken out there.
That's correct.
And then you can use unlimited use of the tip yourself. If you're categorised as rural residential, you're paying 132. And out here at the airport as well. But are you getting your rubbish picked up then? So you can use it for 132. And then if you're a rural ratepayer, you're charged $11 to be able to use the tip, whether you're 100 k's from town or not. Okay, thank you.
The only rider from that is that a lot of the rural residentials have also gone into private negotiation with the contractor, and they're getting their garbage picked up as a private deal with the contractor. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I was just going to add to that. And you made that point that not all rural residential ratepayers get their garbage picked up. Mine is a good example. I take my own, so I'm happy to pay for that service. And just to expand a little bit more on the committee, we are definitely looking at the way we charge out there, and we've got some ideas. I have some ideas that I'm happy to share at a later point, but you know, use of the UMR waste depot from people outside of the Shire is another issue that we're going to tackle as well, and that's, you'd be surprised how many there are, or maybe not surprised.
Councillor Houston.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the private guys that, you know, say like me, that pay the private contractor to pick up our rubbish, does that private contractor get charged to drop that rubbish at our tip, or do they take it back to Dubbo?
Tip.
Pardon?
They drop it for free at our tip.
For free, okay.
So all, you know, we've been through the budget. We all know we've got a, you know, equity amongst our community is important to me. We need rubbish picked up. We need it done efficiently. Councillor McCoskey, be aware that if you tread on toes with rubbish or cemeteries or other things, that it's like a burr under the saddle for everybody. So it's something that the committee, UMR Waste Committee, needs to go into in a lot of detail. So I'll put that motion. All in favour? Thank you very much. And the last one on that is the Shire Librarians Report. Councillor Sturdity, thank you. Second, Councillor McKay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's quite comprehensive. She has been overseas for the last 3 weeks. It was done prior to going. We are very busy little Vegemites down there. There's a lot of things that have come up for future sections of the community. Very well received. I can guarantee the movies are good and you do get morning tea. Nice comfortable chairs. You need to put your feet up if you need to. I think it's pretty much all there. She's covering all bases. The library's covering all bases as much as it can to do whatever it can for the community. And I don't think there's a lot of people out there that will be too happy with.
Thank you, Councillor Sturdity. Yeah, I've even been conned to go and read a book. My school teacher wife brought it home for me to practice. Proofread. Yeah, thank you, councillor Surtee. We're very lucky. Our officer in charge of that department is keen. As you can see, there's plenty of photos in your business paper if you want to check them. I'll put that, sorry, Bob.
That's a good question, through about to Pauline, the 14 photo there. So Erica is the
Manager.
chief,
Library manager.
library manager, and the other four people are, what are their titles? Are they,
Hang on a second.
Library assistant.
so there's Carmen, Natasha, Kathleen.
Library assistant.
What library assistants are they?
Yeah.
Okay, and they're all library assistants? Yes, okay.
And they're not all full time. The lady, she overlaid Kathy, she only comes in.
Yeah.
I think she's been only doing Saturday mornings unless they call her in from somewhere else. Yeah, so there's limited amount of hours that they work.
And the other three are full-time?
The only.
Only 2 out of the 5.
Yeah.
Only a couple of full time, the rest of them are part time.
Part-time.
Okay.
So I'll put that all in favour. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, comfort stop morning tea for Sylvester Stars. Report is in front of you. It's pretty comprehensive. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder of that, please. Councillor Kelly, Councillor McCloskey, Councillor Kelly.
I move the information be received and noted.
Those that have been to Gilgandra recently, you'll notice that the heavy patching project that Roads New South Wales got us to do is completed. Probably the best that section of highway's been for a long time. So it's a great patch there. Looking for any questions, or I'll ask Sylvester to comment. Anything jumping out at anyone? Councillor McCloskey?
Yeah, through the chair, I just noticed on, not gone too far. Page 1, just up Third Roads, the budget is 64 and we've already spent 69.
Yeah, ceilings, we're over it.
We don't spend very much money in our parking areas.
Yeah, right.
Same with curb and gutter. I'm not worried it's the overall scheme.
Yeah, but goes around.
Yeah.
Well, whilst we're pretty well on schedule for our two major ones being Bathguy and Corinda, directors have just informed me that we've been allocated more time. Do you want to?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the grant deadline was June this year. So we applied for an extension for up to June next year. So that was approved. So we have plenty of time to finish this project.
This is the safe towards zero safer roads, the 9 million.
Yeah.
The full report's in front of you guys. Do we need any more questions, or so you're happy with your project and where they're all at?
Yeah, we are happy. We're plodding along well. Yeah. We're confident that we'll finish one of them within the time allocated.
As per mention, we're doing the Mother Guy Road in sections and awaiting approval to do the intersection to the highway, which we are hoping, or have been told or telling them that we should get in a matter of weeks.
If there's, sorry, councillor.
Through the chair again, just in light of that, we're not waiting to do that section, given we're still working down further.
That's correct. We're working towards that.
Yeah, we're not, yeah,
We're not, the contractor is still working. Nothing else, ladies and gentlemen? Comments, guys? We'll put that all in favour. Thank you very much. Congratulations to the roads crew. Town services report, which is the next one. Looking for a mover and seconder of that, please. Diving at it, be Bob, councillor McKay, councillor Houston.
Move the recommendation that it be received and noted.
Thanks, councillor McKay. The grade, Long Cemetery phase 3, the earthworks is done. The tennis court refreshment is under negotiation at the moment. Splash Park completed. The exclusion fence, those that haven't been to the showground lately can see Warren's equivalent to a Taronga open zoo outside the fence. 50 or 60 kangaroos waiting for someone to leave the gate open. They're just sitting there nice and quietly, wondering how life's changed. When they'll decide to move on, I'm not quite sure. Those that have been there or looked from the road, the new fencing around the saddling enclosure is just about completed. There's a couple of extras to come to that. Anything else jumping out at anybody? As General Manager alluded to, our evaporation lagoon at the new sewage station is just about completed. The levy we'll talk about. The ongoing to the CCTV is ongoing because of complications that you all know about.
Is it, so for you now, the new contractor, did that?
I think I understand that that's under, but it's been sorted. Yet to be done, but sorted. Any other questions, comments, guys, while you're ready? So if there's nothing jumping at anybody or you guys got any comments, I'll put that all in favour. Thank you so much. Carried. Works progress report plant. Looking for a mover and a seconder. Just carry on then. Councillor Kelly, Councillor Kinsey.
I'll just move that the information be received and noted. Very straightforward. No outstanding major repairs required. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, our boys have been active. The highlight of that, as I mentioned earlier, was delivery of a brand new Caterpillar grader. And obviously
the oldest grader will now be been up for sale. Any other questions? No questions. I'll put that all in favour. Thank you very much. The next one is procurement preferred supplier status provision of small motor vehicles. Looking for a mover, seconder of that, please. Councillor McKay, Councillor Sernity. Right, discussions on that. Or does anyone need any advice where we're going with that, Councillor McKay?
So it's really just a question. So just the way this is written, does it just mean that is it says all local motor vehicle dealers, in which we have one, maybe two. Does it also include small engines and that sort of tractors? So it's just, or is it just relate to the potential of the Toyota dealer?
More motor vehicles, SUVs, etc.
Yep.
One's out the back, one's small utilities at the depot.
Thank you.
There is also the procurement of local have a percentage advantage on other stuff. Any comments before I close that one? All in favour? Thank you for carried recommendation. The next one is the application for team Penning, who aside from that had a very successful weekend 2 weekends ago, I think. The application for the Showground Racecourse Committee, which is correct me if I'm wrong, Councillor Cleasby, that makes me users or in that regard. 6. It is probably the most, shall we say,
Inclusive.
Thank you for the adjective, gentlemen. Committee that we've got, public committee. It is also the a very much used facility, which I must say, council through their general rates subsidises. I'll be looking for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Cleasby, Councillor Jackson. Comments on about the inclusive of another organisation in our committee? Councillor Cleasby.
Through the chair, I just think this is a low key. The team Penning is more of a family type sport. It's not like the elitists of the other ones. It's family sport. And they've been quite generous to, like, their canteens and that are all put back through the local community. They don't. So I just move that they be added to the list.
Yeah, council. Anyone else comment? I've got no comment. I think endorse Councillor Cleasby's comments, and the more use the facility makes, the more we can. If they're using existing facilities, which is more use, the more usage we get, the more we defray our costs. I'll put that, unless there's anyone comes up, I'll put that for and against. All those in favour? Thank you. Recommendation carried. We now move to reports of Manager Health and Development Services.
who unfortunately today is on leave. That's fine. School holidays happen. Let's see, there is nil. Can somebody formally move that, please? Yes. Councillor Soddy, Councillor Jackson, there isn't any. I won't presume to comment one way or the other, but I'll put that, all those in favour. Item 2. That information received and noted re our food dwelling and the budget. We looking for a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Kelly, Councillor Kinsey, Councillor Kelly.
I'll move the information be received and noted. Nothing about it.
We've got budgets for annual budget we've talked about before. The highlighted ones that are out changed are the Victoria Park Oval scoreboards and was it cricket? Unsuccessful. So grants are in process. Questions, Councillor McCoskey?
Through the chair, Mr. Mayor, just in light of the scoreboard at Victoria Oval, it's completed and operational now. In terms of the roller shutter on the front of it.
I was told such. I can't hear you.
My question is then, given I had a look at it this morning, when it's not in use, should the roller shutter not be closed on it? Yeah, well, it's wasn't this morning.
I know the wiring is done, but I'm not.
Yeah, no, through the chair again. Back here some time ago, there was a loose extension cord hanging in the back. Looking at it now, it's all hardwired into the back, but the shutter's still open. Yeah.
Any other? Councillor Brewer? Right. Questions, comments? Put that recommendation, pardon me. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. There is no notice, question with notice. I haven't got any matters of urgency. Now, move. I was looking for a mover and a seconder to move into committee of whole. That's Councillor Brewer and Councillor Sturdy. We are alone. We'll close the doors and turn off our recording device. Everyone's same.
Mr. Mayor, item 1, Warren Levy Bank Rehabilitation and Riverbank Primary Works report. Recommendation, move Brewer, second Clearsby. 1, council receives and notes the information in this report regarding the proposed completion of the infrastructure project Warren Levy Bank Rehabilitation and Riverbank Primary Works. 2, in accordance with the provisions of clause 178(1)(a) Local Government General Regulation 2021 under the Local Government Act 1993, the tender submitted by MGN Civil Proprietary Limited recommending tender amount of $4,164,088 excluding GST, accepted for contract number C13-103 Warren Levy Levy Bank Rehabilitation, Riverbank Rock Armoury Works, Warren, New South Wales. And 3, council authorise the fixing of the CO council contract to contract number C13-103 for the Warren Levy Bank Rehabilitation and Riverbank Rock Armoury Works, Warren, New South Wales.
No more questions. I'm going to put that formal motion to general council. All those in favour? Thank you.
And Mr Mayor, in relation to item 2 of the Divisional Manager Engineering Services Report, provision of plan hire and mine works for 2025. Based on committee the whole place council moved by Brewer and Kelly. 1, council in accordance with local government general regulation 2021 formally agreed to accept the analysis of the tender evaluation for contract 13-104 provision of casual paint hire and minor works 2025. And 2, council accepts tenders as a panel contract from 39 tenderers listed on the evaluation code section attachments of this report. RFT C13-104 provision of casual plant hire and minor works 2025 for a period of 1 year ending April 30, 2026.
Councillors, I'll put that as per. Please, all those in favour, thank you. Thank you and congratulations, councillors, for your meeting. Also, if I'd like to congratulate the staff, especially the guys that are here and Jody. Putting together this business paper has been massive workload, and all you guys have been informed to the utmost degree about anything we're doing. So I congratulate everybody for the pain and the suffering that they have, and you guys for putting up with reading nearly the public. So thank you very much, and I close the meeting. Thank you. Yes.